You guys, we have talked about how you treat other people. So I want to tell you a little story about this woman who had, she was on a job situation and she was very much the kind of person that was looking for attention. And believe it or not, this woman actually left this job. Okay, she left this job and she came back to this job so that she could harass this particular woman. So when we ask the question, are you depressed? That's the motif. This woman actually was on a job, clearly didn't find what she was looking for, left that job, but she came back. Now, you may ask, why did she come back? Thank you for the likes, you guys. Thank you so much. You may ask, why did she come back? Okay, thank you for all the hearts. You guys are so sweet. So you guys, listen, there was a dynamic on this job where the manager had, let's just say, inappropriate feelings for some of the people that worked there, the females that worked there. Thank you for the hearts. You guys are so generous. Thank you. And so much so that there was a particular woman that worked there, and he was not able to get, oh, Jake Shakes is in the house. Hi, Jake Shakes. I'm so glad that you're here. So there was a particular woman that he was not able to get the attention of. So what happened was the manager created this dynamic where this particular female basically could just be mistreated by anybody on that job because she was not interested in him in the appropriate way, in the inappropriate way that he was interested in her. Jake Shakes, I'm so glad you're here. So I wanted to talk about this when we say, are you depressed? Okay, so why is that relevant? So this particular woman, okay, now remember, let's say there was this female who the manager had an interest in. Okay, let's say her name was, let's say, Fayea. Let's just say her name was Fayea. Okay, and let's say the other woman's name was Mia. Okay, let's just say. Now Mia was somehow, it seemed, responding to the manager in the way that he wanted, even though he was being very inappropriate. But Fayea was not interested in that. She was just interested in doing her job. So Mia actually left that job because she wasn't really advancing. She clearly wasn't happy. But she actually came back to the job. Now, why is that? Mia was in a position where she was so pleased. Oh, thank you so much, Jake Shakes, that you say you watch Model Poetry Music. You are so wonderful. Thank you. There is there is some new material. If you go to modelpoetry.com, you will see. So thank you so much, Jake Shakes, and thank you guys for all the hearts. So she actually came back. And why did Mia come back? This was the first experience I think that Mia had where she was able to have some kind of authority or power over this other woman because the other woman was not interested. Okay, just reconnected. Thank you guys for being patient. Even when the UPS person came or the delivery person came, they had this leeway because of this manager to be so nasty to this woman. And Jake Shakes, I see your comment, but you know what? After the lives, when we when we click that it's done, we find actually there are so many more people than you see. And people have told us online that they watch the live. So I don't think what you're seeing on the screen is accurate, because once we click done, there are so many more people in the room. But Jake Shakes, we're so glad that you are here. And thank you for the likes. Yeah, so this was the first time. Jake Shake says, "You're right, though. Yeah, it's really amazing. I don't think they give things accurately in that regard, or there's something, not that it's saying that it's nefarious, but there's something in the processing. So you don't see until the end of the live. It's like, oh wow, all of these people were here." And then they tell us on different platforms, "I've been enjoying your lives and I've been getting something from them." So I'm so glad. Okay, so Jake Shake says, "I love your content. Why would not be there? Wait, I love your content. Why would I not be here? I'm a huge supporter." Oh, thank you so much, Jake Shake. So glad that you are here. So glad. Thank you. And thank you for all the hearts and the likes and everything. So appreciate it. So yeah, so yes, thank you guys for all the likes as you come into the room. You guys are so generous. So yeah, so I think this was the first time. Again, Faea was not responding to this manager, this male manager, but Mia was. So Faea was basically heaped on with all of this abuse because she would not respond to this manager's advances. So Mia actually left this job and ended up returning because it was the first time she had power over someone of that kind. Now, Faea, when we're just using fictional names. Oh, Jake Shake says, "Oh yeah, it's wrong. Look at that. I see 21 people so far." Well, you have some insights here, Jake Shakes. So we are going to look to you for some statistics, but we're so glad that you're here. You're absolutely wonderful. Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about. Have you ever been in a job situation where somebody, especially in a position of power, is acting in such a way, and if you're not responding to whatever it is, bullying, inappropriate, whatever, then a dynamic is set up for you not to have a certain comfort level at all in that place. So that's something that I want to talk about, and you guys can talk about it too in the chat. Have you ever experienced bullying? Either in this happened to this person in a job place, but it could be in school. It could be, something that you experience in a job, in school, in a leadership thing that you're doing. It could be anywhere, but would love to know if you guys have also experienced this. Another situation, and this happened in school. There was a girl who was helping the teacher, an assistant teacher, and there were some people that were younger than this person, okay? And for whatever reason, they felt jealous that she had been picked by this teacher to help. And what they started to do, and this was a young girl. This young girl started galvanizing people against this teacher's assistant. Jake Shake says, "I was bullied in 8th grade because I was fat." Oh, wow. See, that's a terrible thing to have to deal with. But it's amazing. I was just looking at the video of somebody who's a little overweight, very attractive young man, a little overweight, and has a YouTube channel, over 80,000 followers, and uses those painful experiences to really enliven others, give confidence to others, to tell stories. So a lot of times the things that you experience as a kid, things that are difficult for you as a kid, you'll be amazed because they will end up being a power to you, something that will be blessed to you as a power that you have as an adult. So when Jake Shake says, I was bullied in 8th grade because I was fat, listen, whatever you're going through at the time, what a lot of people don't understand, and especially a lot of kids don't understand, is that it becomes your power. Because when people are mean to you, you start developing ways to respond. Healthy ways to respond so that you can stay in your health. You don't become a nasty person. You find ways, because what you'll often find in those environments is sometimes the people who are doing the bullying seem to be able to just run free and do and say whatever. But you, who are, trying to be righteous, trying to do the right thing, they will watch how you respond. It's amazing to see. And somebody who was once in a position of authority, I remember them saying, it doesn't matter whether they're wrong or right. You have to be right. Which seemed like a terribly unfair thing at the time. But I'm not sure that this person who said that, it wasn't really so much of whether they were saying that that was a fair situation. They were saying that, just that, whether they're wrong or right, you have to be right. So even if they are disrespectful, even if they say things that are inappropriate, whatever they do, because I think, Jake Shakes, that if you were to then do something that was inappropriate or respond in a way that seemed bombastic or whatever the case may be, it's very possible that some administrator or somebody in a position of power, now you guys know, full disclaimers, this is just our advice. This is not professional advice. These are just our ideas, rather. And you have to make sure that you're old enough to listen to the live. But this is our opinion. It could have been that you would have been the one who had to deal with consequences had you responded in a way that was deemed inappropriate. So it goes back to that. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, wrong or right. You have to be right. Whether it seemed fair when this person of authority said that, because it's not fair. But it's something you have to be mindful of, because I think, this is my opinion, when you're a person who walks upright and you try to do the right thing, you are looked at in a totally different way. Your actions are magnified in a totally different way. The people who bully, the people who are unfair, seem to in some way get a free pass. I know it's just temporary. There are always consequences for unfair behavior. But it seems like they temporarily get a free pass, and they are almost used for you to strengthen yourself. If you look at it the right way, you strengthen yourself, you learn from it, you develop yourself. Because as you get older, if you go into the workplace, or if you become a celebrity, you become someone in the public eye, you will see that same dynamic. There is a supermodel that I really admire who said, and if you guys go to modelpoetry.com, you'll see the many supermodels that follow us. So I think you'll see, who knows if they were all deemed as attractive when they were young, but now they've become supermodels. Now they become seen as models for beauty and attractiveness. But what was the experience that they had when they were younger? So this supermodel, she said that, yeah, I know I'm the one. Something, I'm paraphrasing, but she said something to the effect of, I know I have to be the bigger person. So basically, these unfair things are happening, but she always has to respond appropriately. The magnifying glass will be on her. But sometimes it seems like the people who do those things, they don't get that kind of smoke. They don't get that kind of attention, that magnification of each of their actions. But you, who are on a particular path, you who are on a path to influence others, you who are on a path to make an impact in this world, you're the one whose actions will be zeroed in on, who they'll take a fine tooth comb to, who they'll say, oh, I had a friend who was on a job, very attractive young man. I mean, considered to be extremely attractive, and had all these jobs that he had to do while working as an actor. And we were talking, and he would kind of just speak freely, because even though there was a certain maturity to him in terms of life experience, there was also kind of a naivete. He was from a particular island, beautiful island in the Caribbean, and I think they just grow up very, just with a lot of kindness and a lot of directness. I think he just grew up without a lot of games or silliness. So he would take people at face value. But he would go to these jobs and just speak freely, do whatever, freely or whatever. But again, this was a very attractive young man who, well-spoken, all of those things. And there were people that were very jealous of him. And I don't think he realized it. So he would but when we talked, we started noticing the pattern that people would use anything he said against him. And it would always be, but what did he say? What did he say? But what did he say? And I said to him, it's amazing, because you would think people who are doing the wrong thing would just say anything, would just make up anything about somebody that they were jealous of. And there are people that do that to some degree. But oddly enough, they look for some basis for it. They want it to be, as ostensibly, at least, that you did something wrong. So they would always say, what did he say? But what did he say? And then they would go from there to malign him, to say that he did something inappropriate or wrong. So QU in the chat says, what did he say? QU, I don't know if you meant that literally. I can tell you one instance of something that he said. One time there was somebody he was working with, another male, and the male had for some reason jammed all of these drinks into the little refrigerator they were doing. It was like cater waitering. And he had jammed all these drinks into the refrigerator. Now, I don't know, how much you guys, if you've experienced this in school or on a, part-time job that you have, but there's always that finger pointing in the blame game often. And this can happen, in school, on a job. It could happen in higher levels of government, that finger pointing. But any little thing, especially when people are working for lower wages or in a competitive environment, even if, the cater waitering was paying a little bit above the average wage, there is that competition, which I don't really believe in that kind of competition in your own life. What you have is for you, go for it. Nobody can take it. But literally in those situations, there's a kind of competition. It's not a figurative one or about your own goals. There are people who feel that they need to compete with you on that level rather than focus on the job. So when QU in the chat says, what did he say? And they would ask, what did he say? And then whatever he said, they would use against him. But in this particular situation, this other person, not him, not my friend that we're talking about, had jammed these drinks, I don't know, inexplicably, I don't know why he did that, but into this refrigerator. And so when the person in charge came around, they said, what's going on? And the person was blaming everybody that was there. And rather than the person who did it just saying, I put those in there, I apologize for that, the person just kept quiet. And so my friend asked, so why did you put those drinks in there anyway? And that was kind of a way of letting the person in charge know, this person is doing these things, but it's not something that should be blamed on us as a group. But they were constantly trying to undermine my friend, and allow him maybe to take blame or whatever. But it would often come back to, what did he say? So when Jay Jake Shake says that he was bullied in 8th grade because he was fat, which is, nobody should be bullied for any reason, and nobody should be bullied for their size or anything. But when we look at this situation, and the reason I say that is because Jake Shakes will always be, and QU says, I see. I'm glad that you understand. So Jake Shakes, who we've had on the live, who's been included on the live before, we see as an upright person trying to do the right thing, trying to navigate life in the right way. There will always be that magnifying glass on you. They wouldn't go to the people, why are you bullying? This and that. If there were more people saying, why are you making fun of him because of his weight? Then it wouldn't happen. But somehow it gets very quiet when somebody is behaving in that way. And what's looked in on, what's magnified, what's focused on is the reaction of the person who's being bullied. Inexplicably. I know people who try to walk in an upright way have experienced this. People do all kinds of wild things, but if you turn around and say this or that, then you are the wrong one. So that's something that we have to be very, very mindful of. Okay, when we ask this question, are you depressed? And remember, like that person in that position of authority that I told you about, when people will say, when that person said, it doesn't matter if they're wrong or right, you have to be right. So in these situations, be mindful of that. We can extend that advice longer that person of authority gave. That it should matter whether they're wrong or right, but you still have to be right. You still have to be right. Thank you, guys. Please give a like as you come into the room. It helps to send out the video to more, because there are a lot of people who are sad and who are dealing with bullying and who are dealing with difficult situations. And they need to hear that they're not alone. They need to be able to come to a space where they feel safe. And Model Poetry, modelpoetry.com. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. That is a space. This is a space where you can come and know that you're not judged. Know that you can feel comfortable here after a long day of maybe being ostracized or made to feel uncomfortable, or, have you ever, you can be in your house getting prepped, getting ready, feeling wonderful about who you are. And then you step out and there can be all these insinuations about who you are in so many different ways. And you can come back to the house or the place that you left, the house or the apartment or wherever you are, feeling so differently. And if you look back on the optimism that you left with on that day, and you come back potentially feeling so differently, remember who you are. Remember that as beautiful as the culture that we live in is, a lot of it, there's so much advertising. And a lot of that advertising is just for people to make money, but they sometimes will do and say things just to make you insecure so that you'll buy the product. I just don't feel that you need to do that. I feel that you can still have an offering, still have a product for people without making them feel badly about who they are, without making them feel bad about who they are. So, but it's a part of the culture. As beautiful as the culture is, that's one element of it that you have to be mindful of. So you can leave the house feeling one way about yourself, feeling absolutely ready to just take on the world and have positive impact and these things. And especially, I do believe people who try to live a right life, it's definitely a different standard. It's definitely a different standard. People will look at what you do differently, try to bring you down in a different way. And I think a lot of people don't realize it. So they do get depressed because they don't understand. If you are just doing what's wrong, if you are just doing whatever and you don't have any goals and you don't care about anybody, a lot of times things can be made very easy for you, very smooth. But if you have the potential and if you have the desire to really have a positive impact on people, negativity is not going to just let you step out and do that so easily. There are going to be particular challenges that are put up in front of you that are different from somebody who doesn't have a goal and who doesn't have true love in their heart. So it's something to think about. It's something to really consider. So when we ask the question, are you depressed? Think about those things. Think about the person that is putting you down is in many cases themselves trying to excavate themselves from the feelings that can be put on them. Somebody could be being abused at home, belittled at home, abused physically, abused mentally. And then they see you with a smiling face, seemingly happy-go-lucky. And they think this is the person that they're going to take out their frustrations on. They don't know you have your own problems in your own life. But that's part of what you have to overcome. You have been given power to make a difference in this world. And many times negativity is going to try to come against you so that you are not able to realize that power and do those positive things to help others. So let me tell you one more story before we close the chat, and you can leave any thoughts or words in the chat, because first I'm going to give you a little poem off the top. I'm going to create a little poem for you right off the top. So if you put any words in the chat, I'm going to include them in the poem. Just a quick poem. As I stand on the precipice, I see what is there. I see like QU sees. QU says, I applaud your page, but it's late in Cali. The glistening stones roamed in the street, and as they walked on and about, they thought, is this just all about clout? Are we standing in a space where we look for others to tell us what we are to perceive? What did he say? Asked QU. I see. I applaud you, but it's late in Cali, and we dance and we deepen into the valley. But how do we engage with the salt? What if you are being abused in your own home? Do you know that it is not your fault? And as you stand and as you walk away, you think about, what did he say? You have to remember that there is a power in you in which you are endowed. It is not one that should make you arrogant or proud. Because Jake says, I was bullied in 8th grade because I was fat. Now think about it. Now think about that. The idea that a beautiful being should be placed in a position to feel such sadness, really. So what did he say? And as you step out into this mineral horizon and you go on into your day, think about what you want and what you can do for others. And when you read the word, that is the time to think, what did he say? Okay, you guys, I'm so glad that you're here. Let me give you one more quick story before I close the live. You guys, QU, Jake Shakes, you guys, everybody in the live, you are absolutely wonderful. You are absolutely a joy. And I know you guys know that people go to Model Poetry, modelpoetry.com to get fueled. So when you go there, you will see some of the many superstars who have endorsed us. You can see them on camera endorsing us. You'll see many of the superstars who follow us. You'll see that whether you have one follower or 100 million, that this is a space where people go to get fueled so that they can help, so that they can be of service to others. So let me give you one other quick story. So there was a girl, and I'll say it this way, many of you will understand why I word it this way as time goes on. There was a girl that went into a store. This is a place that she shopped regularly. And there was a security guard that used to kind of pay her extra attention, not in a way that she liked. And would always kind of act in a way as though she was trying to do something underhanded in the store. But obviously a very honest girl, no need for any of that. Anyone knows they'll find more trouble trying to do things in an underhanded way than just doing it the right way. So she would go into this store, and this security guard would always act like, and then when she would go to the self-checkout, the security guard was extra heightened and just watching everything that she was doing, right? And so one day she went, and the order may be inversed, but let's say there was one day and somebody had paid for their items and left them on the counter. So she's checking out and she says, oh, to the security guard who was, blazoned, watching her, just, eyes ablaze, just watching everything she did. Oh, so she picked up the bag and she said, oh, somebody paid for the stuff, but they didn't take it. And she gave it to the security guard. Another day she came in looking around. She's doing her self-checkout. She goes and she sees some dollars, some money on the thing. I guess maybe their change had come out and they'd forgotten it or they were distracted. So she literally takes the money and she says, oh, to the security guard, oh, somebody left some money here, and she finishes with what she's doing. Thank you for the likes as you guys come in. You've been especially generous tonight. So thank you for giving a like. When you hit that like button, it will make you feel absolutely fantastic. And then at the end of the live, you can leave a comment once it's uploaded. You can see the other uploads we did tonight. And you can go to Model Poetry and modelpoetry.com. I'm going to finish the story in a second, but you can go to modelpoetry.com and see those who follow us. See some of those who have been in our live that we've included on the website. It's amazing what's happening there. Some of the companies like Amazon that have sent us messages online. It is just amazing what's happening. The Finger Lakes, natural and organic companies, people who are working to go against oppression and bullying. You guys are such a great community. So yes, give a like as you come in the room. You are powerful when you do that. So let me end with the completion of this story. So I told you the first time she gave the bag to the security guard, because she saw it there at the checkout. Somebody had left their things. The second time she gave the security guard the money that somebody had left behind. And she thought, oh, well, if the security guard was insinuating that she was, going to do something wrong or somehow, dishonest, that should do it. No. Next time she came, same thing. Instead of watching the other customers, he was trained right on her. And with that kind of insinuating behavior, as though she needed to be watched. Now, there are two parts to this. I don't know if other people have talked about this. There's a history of that. There could be a security guard. They're interested in a woman. She's not interested. And then she becomes a criminal to him, or he insinuates that she's doing something dishonest because he can't get her attention in any legitimate way. And I know, regardless of there are people who say it or not, I know there are people who've experienced that in many ways in different environments. But the other part is he wanted to believe that she was doing something wrong. And there was no level of anything that she could have done, no level of honesty or uprightness that she could have demonstrated that would make him think differently. So remember that also in your own life. If somebody feels a certain way about themselves, if somebody feels a certain way about a group of people, if somebody feels a certain way about a particular crew in high school or in college or in elementary school or on the job or in Congress, if they want to hold that belief, no matter what you do, that's the belief that they want to hold. It doesn't matter what you demonstrate, because this is how they feel. And I remember, again, talking to a friend, and we were saying, oh, the negative images that you see of people on the news. I was saying to her, it is just abominable. You know, they will have particular ethnic groups and just have all this negativity that they put, and it is just awful. And I was saying to my friend, and I said, all the ethnic groups, you know, that when they do this to particular ethnic groups, and I was telling her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, do you see this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, you see them. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, yeah, I see them. And she said something to that effect. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, do you see the reporters? Because reporters come in all colors, all ethnic groups, all backgrounds, and they tend to be very attractive people who can think on their feet and who are very intelligent. So if you're watching a broadcast and you see all the stereotypes which of course they shouldn't do, it's an awful thing that has to be dealt with, but you see all the stereotypical things that they try to show you so that you hold particular group ideas about particular groups. Part of it is that that's what you wanted to see. Because if you look at the reporters, they come in all colors, they come in all ethnic groups, they come in all religious beliefs. And they tend to be just phenomenal. They tend to be so engaging, so intelligent, and able to think on their feet. It's just amazing. They have to coalesce and reconcile different situations very quickly. And they tend to be amazing with it. So if you really want a snapshot of humanity, and if you really want to say, oh, what is this ethnic group like? Or what is this group like? Or what is this group like? Look at the reporters. But if you want to see another group that you're not a part of as bad, then you can look at some of the images that are being shown to you. And then you have to ask yourself, if we ask the question, are you depressed? Why do you, apart from ethnicity, background, this and that, on a greater level, why do you want to look down on other people so much? Whether you're in school or like Jake Shakes said, you know, they used to bully Jake Shakes because he was fat. Why would anybody have such a need to look down on somebody else? And if they do, when you ask that question, are you depressed? That's what you need to start thinking about. If you want that much to look down on somebody else, that is evidence of depression. That is evidence of a deep sadness that needs to be dealt with. Because yes, as a recipient of that criticism, as a recipient of that bullying, you may feel sadness. But as the distributor of it, as the one doling it out, that unkindness, you're going to end up feeling depressed. So just remember that. You guys are absolutely wonderful. I'm so glad that you joined us for the live today. And I want you guys to remember, when you come to these lives, this is something you can close your eyes, sit back, listen, consider, what are the goals that you have? What is it that you want to do with your life? Are there ways in which you feel held back? Do you know that you can get to your dreams, that changing your mindset is so essential? How you think about yourself. You could put on these lives and you can listen to them over and over again. When something is coming to you from a place of love, It will benefit you. You can come to these lives and listen. When you give it a thumbs up, you are empowering yourself. You are empowering the broadcast, but you are also empowering yourself. So this is a space where we have other videos, very bright, full of transitions. You'll see them online. But this is one space that you can come to and just relax and recoup. And we thank you to the celebrities that tell us behind the scenes of the impact that we're having. We thank you to the celebrities that follow us, that endorse us, to all the leaders that look in on what we're doing and that get excited by our work. And we have some of them at Model Poetry, modelpoetry.com. And you too, if you comment on one of our lives, we often will include you on the website. And again, you know, our advertisers are very happy to pay a pretty penny, very pretty penny, to be on our website. So it's a space of value for many reasons, not just for that reason, but for many reasons. And it's a place where we welcome you, modelpoetry.com. And we thank you for coming. And we welcome you to the next broadcast. And you guys, I love you so much. And we will see you next time. Also, Jake Shakes, QU, everybody that was a part of this broadcast, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to the live. We love you, and we'll see you next time.